Right. We are back here on another Couch Coach Live here Wednesday night under the lights here. What's going on, Mal?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. It's another week. Just keep on. Everything is rolling. It's crazy to think we
Right.
halfway through this month already, and
Yeah.
we got everything going on in the world of sports and everything, man. It's just been a day, but yeah.
Right. It's been a day, man.
Yes, indeed. So we got a great show lined up for you tonight. So we'll recap Wildcard Weekend, our takeaways this week. Also, we'll talk about Peacock and the future of streaming. What does that signify? Is this I call it, it will be the gateway for pay-per-view events in the future. We'll kind of talk about that. Pascal Siakam traded to the Indiana Pacers today, and also Thelma Krause. We'll talk about those topics tonight and give our picks for divisional weekend. But so before we go into the night show, we definitely want to send our heartfelt condolences. We had a death in the NBA family today, unfortunately. Warriors assistant head coach Dejan Milojevic, also affectionately known as Coach Decky, passed away today at 46 years old of apparent heart attack. There was on Tuesday night. He suffered a heart attack during the Warriors team dinner, private dinner on Tuesday night, and passed away this morning. So definitely heartfelt condolences to everybody that's that knows Coach Decky, the Warrior staff, the players, everybody who unfortunately witnessed what happened last night. So definitely want to send our heartfelt condolences out to them. And another like we talk about, just crazy day in the world of sports, but and also the Warriors and the Jazz game has been postponed as well. That was the news early this morning, and then obviously we know the reason as to why now with the passing of Coach Decky. But any thoughts on Coach Decky, or you want to speak on it before we head to?
I mean, I don't know much about him, man, so I'm not gonna sit here like I do. But I just know there's a lot of things going on with that team. I just want to send my condolences to his family, and everyone who cares for him. Definitely, definitely the Warriors too. They seem like very close. They're going through a lot. They're very close, very close family, teammates, colleagues and coworkers. So I know this is probably something that's really hit them kind of hard, especially with all the troubles and negativity they've been dealing with. Really, probably for a while. So man, they're sending love to everybody, especially basketball. Anyway, it's like a brotherhood. So I'm sure a lot of people is hurt for because of this situation. So just sending love and respect and strength to them.
Yeah, man, definitely heartbreaking. And then, like you said, the brotherhood, them actually being on the road while this happened, and witnessing it. I think that's one thing too, where I think like I've talked to a couple of friends, as far as as far as in the group chat and stuff, we talked about like it's tough for them, considering the fact they're gonna need some love, they're gonna need some some time to just get through that situation itself. Right. So just to be the witness of it when it happened. But definitely, like I said, our heartfelt condolences to Coach Decky and his family and everyone that know and love him as well. And everybody that's affected by this. But yeah, so what we're gonna do, we'll kick that intro, and we'll be right back here on Couch Coach Live. We'll be right back. Yes, we do like that, Big Kirko. As you're recovering from your atrocious injury a few months ago, but you'll be back in the saddles next year, and I think you might. I think there's a certain team for you, but we'll talk about that. We'll actually talk about that very quick shortly in these in this as we discuss the NFL playoffs and what have you. So this week's Couch Coach Live is powered by the good folks at SeatGeek. Head over to SeatGeek.com, use the promo code CouchCoach, get yourself $20 off your first purchase. So if you want to go to these games, if you want to go to Orchard Park, I don't know, you might be digging in the snow again potentially on Sunday, or you want to, or if you want to be in a nice 70-degree temperature in Detroit, or you want to, as far as want to be in the Avenue on a Saturday night, right? Or you want to go to the Bay on a nice crisp night in San Francisco, we got you. So head over to SeatGeek, use our promo code CouchCoach, get yourself $20 off. I mean, I know tickets are expensive, but hey, that $20, hey, you can get you a hot dog or a bill, or or anything at this point. Save you a little bit of money. That's all we can do for you. But we're here. Right. So we gotta talk about Wild Card Weekend. So we'll talk about Wild Card Weekend, and my personal opinion, I think it lived up to the billing. I mean, as far as when it comes to a super, as far as Super Wild Card Weekend, obviously, you're looking at the AFC, all the top seeds held their ground as the Cleveland Browns won. They not the Cleveland Browns, but the Houston Texans beat the Cleveland Browns, and then also the Buffalo Bills beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. But then in the NFC, there was a little bit of different. There's a little bit of intrigue. Detroit coming off their first home playoff game in nearly 30 years. Well, over 30 years. They went and beat the LA Rams, and then the upset where the number 7 seed, the Green Bay Packers, beat the Dallas Cowboys to move on to this week's divisional round. So, Mal, what's your thoughts on Wild Card Weekend? Your takeaways?
I mean, I'm satisfied. It was some games that was kind of blowouts, but when you kind of pay attention, it kind of to me should have been somewhat of a blowout, like the Browns. They like Flacco did what he was supposed to do to get them there, and it was just a possibility if he was able to get them over that hump. The Dolphins, so I put the Browns, Dolphins, and the Eagles. If you look at the Eagles, they've been losing. They basically towards the end of the season, they hadn't been looking too good, and clearly, excuse me, you could tell they missed their offensive coordinator. Me personally, I feel like a lot of reasons they lost is like it seemed like the fans was turning their back on them. Like I seen a lot of reels and things of fans just being real disrespectful to some of the players. Where sometimes you need your fans to like, hey man, it's the playoff. You don't need them to come at you sideways. Like y'all better you see that joint with Kelsey when he was at like the little the cheesesteak joint or the restaurant where the lady was.
Oh yeah, that was early in the season.
But you know what I'm saying? Like
that was I think it was like a joke for like something for Thursday because it was a bit for Thursday Night Football. I remember that.
Oh really? I didn't know that. I thought it was like recently, but I still feel. But even that, I saw Hurts right before the safety. The running back ran behind Hurts, and Hurts gave him the softest block I ever seen in my life. And it just seemed like I don't know something missing there. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I definitely feel like something's missing there. The Dolphins had a lot of injuries. I said something about the Browns. They missed Chubb, definitely. It seemed like the Browns to me always have some injury issues. You know what I mean? It seemed like every year somebody's missing or quarterback problems. You know what I mean? And that's really my take on it. Like when it comes to the Lions and the Rams, it was a great game. I feel like the Buccaneers. I think Baker Mayfield is above average quarterback, and he can win you some games as long as he protect the ball and stay humble. He can motivate his team to let him lead. And let me see. My Steelers. I just think that we just couldn't. I don't know. I think it hit us hard early. You know what I mean? I think if we really would have just been disciplined and settled down, Even if we go 4 and out, just commit to running the ball. Um, we could have like controlled the clock more than and did to make Josh Allen have to hurry up. I just felt like they panicked real fast. You know what I mean? And that's my take on it. That's my take on it. Yeah, that's my take. Oh, let me say the Cowboys. um, it's something missing there. I mean, I know they say it's the same thing every year, but it's definitely something that's not clicking with the Cowboys, and I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Is it coaching? They got the weapons. Like, remember how crazy we was talking about Micah, right? Mike
Parsons,
Parsons.
Parsons, yeah.
Um, we always praised him, and it's just like they don't figure out a way to neutralize him. You know what I mean? Like he's just I don't know what it is. Maybe you couch coach. Maybe you can give me some answers because I don't know.
Man, I mean, if you look in that game, it was the defense. I mean, but you got to think to yourself that Green Bay was smart. They did what we said they were supposed to do. They were supposed to, and I think I said it on another show, run it down their throat, pause.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you think about that first drive, that was a 7-minute drive. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, when you have your defense on the field for the first 7 minutes of the opening series, that's demoralizing. And then you can also see like the effort on defense, throughout that game. But I mean, yeah, that thing with the Cowboys, I mean, it's just like you said, it's another year of, and then I think coupled with the turnovers, the pick sixes, and what have you,
Mm-hmm.
and then like talk about the defense, you had guys like Romeo Dobbs that looked like Sterling Shop out there. It was an ugly game. I know people look at the score 48-32,
Yeah.
but that game was nowhere near that close. And a lot of it, and a lot of those, Dak to I think that tight end Hendrickson, or I forgot who that tight end. That was a lot of empty calorie touchdowns,
Right.
but it is what it is. But that also adds some other takeaways. I know I talked. One of my biggest takeaways was the NFC East teams are all on the couch. You look at like what happened with Philly.
Right.
I kind of figured Philly was going to lose, but I think they were going to lose in this kind of fashion
Right.
because Philly never they ever since they went to Kansas City and won that game that Monday before Thanksgiving, they've never been right ever since. I mean, I know
Right.
they won on Christmas Day against the Giants, but they almost lost because honestly, if Tyrod Taylor would have played in that total game, if I guess they call him Danny DeVito, but Tommy DeVito, didn't stick up the joint in the beginning of the game, this Philadelphia Eagles teams wouldn't have. That would have been their last win would have been November the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
So and they never, and even after that, after the loss to Dallas, well, they like, well, we got 3 games left. We got the Giants and we got the Giants, and then we got the Cardinals sandwich in, and those are supposed to be their 3 get right games, and they lost 2 of those 3.
Mm-hmm.
So going into the playoffs, you can't backslide in the playoffs like that. I mean, especially when you losing to those type of teams. I understand people saying, "Well, Gannon knows them," but I mean, there's a lot of teams that play against their former coordinators and win. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing to that. Going with the NFC thing, CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud. He actually, I mean, him and Jordan Love,
Yeah.
great debuts. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they both looked like seasoned vets, and it's crazy. I looked at Jordan Love, how he played back foot throws, kind of almost ran me almost. And like I said, we always talk about how Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love comparable stats,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost eerily similar as far as what they can do. I mean, the light switch is really turned on for Jordan Love probably since like Thanksgiving, and
Mm-hmm.
he's been playing lights out. And CJ Stroud, like I said, he's playing like a multi-year veteran, like he's been here before. This is his first time in the postseason, and he
Right.
act like he's belong here. He's like, it's almost
Mm-hmm.
like, God, CJ Stroud been around since the 20 teens, but no, this is his debut. Detroit, just my final takeaway. Detroit, this Detroit team remind me of the 2022 Cincinnati, well, the 2021 Cincinnati Bengals team that was the media sweetheart. Remember in 2000, 2 years ago? Well, yeah, I guess 2 years ago, everybody can start sending their texts that the Bengals won. The Lions in that same predicament. They beat a good Rams team, which I was leery about them winning because they were another team. That's weird about the NFC. The hottest teams in the NFC were the lower seeds. You look at, like we talked about Green Bay last week, of how they've been surging. You look at the Rams. The Rams the same. Ever since they win, they damn near went to Baltimore and beat the Ravens. If it weren't for that kick return that pretty much did them in, they could have been, so they've been playing good ever since that game against the Ravens. And so now, going forward, they beat a good Rams team. And I'm not trying to discount Tampa Bay, but I think they're going to give them somewhat of a run this week. But I don't know. I'm really thinking that this Detroit team is going to go to Santa Clara next week. I'm not going to say what I think will happen in that game until next week when we come back next week. But this Detroit team looking a little Cincinnati Bengal-esque. I can see them potentially going to Santa Clara and maybe on their way to Las Vegas for Super Bowl for the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, it's something about this team. It was a magical moment on Sunday. So we shall see.
We'll talk about that later.
And then my other takeaway, and it kind of teased a little bit earlier. If the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are Kirk Cousins away to become contenders. in that game, it's so bizarre. Like I always thought to myself, damn, if they really had a quarterback, and this not no diss to like Mason Rudolph, because hell, he got him there, so I could give him all the credit in the world. But this is where if you had a guy like a Kirk Cousins, because y'all were in the game. It's crazy how it's weird, because if you look at the score, you were down by 20-something points. But for some bizarre reason, like in that second half, Buffalo was giving you guys opportunities. So it's like, God, if you had a quarterback.
But I'm gonna be honest, if I can interject, I'm watching. I know I've been watching the team. Only thing I don't like is how Najee and all the young players are opening their mouth, which I'm sure they probably got to, or maybe Tomlin is telling them to, so he can make decisions. I don't know. But I don't like how they making Tomlin look, because Tomlin doesn't make any of his ex-players or anybody look bad. He just takes, you know what I'm saying? He always, you know what I mean? Even Antonio Brown, he'll never say anything negative. You know what I mean? Even Ben, we know Ben should have some negative. But the only thing is, I know exactly they have extreme weapons on both sides. The issue is they get nervous and they need to commit to something. You know what I mean? And you could tell by the play calling that they're getting nervous and just commit to something. You know what I'm saying? The games that they won, they were committing to the run. They were committing to the play action. They were committing, you know what I'm saying? They understand that we hold the ball and keep dragging and play physical and drag these teams. We can beat them, and then we can go over top. Like Tomlin kept saying, what he say? Get chemistry, get rhythm, go. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like,
and like I said, and that comes with having an established quarterback in the room, i.e., like a Kirk Cousins or a Russell Wilson, because and that's my thing is, like you said, you have the playmakers. It's just the quarterback, and like I was saying, where Buffalo, they pretty much gave you an opportunity to get back in this game. And I think, like I was saying, if you had a legitimate quarterback, and like I said, not to disrespect Mason Rudolph, but he's just not that guy, and that's okay, because going into the season, he was a third-string quarterback, and he was third-string quarterback for a reason.
Right.
But I still think, in my personal opinion, if you would have had a Kirk Cousins, because he's done that in Orchard Park before, like he, as far as
I hear what you're saying.
To a win. But
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
And it's the quarterback, and that's one thing. But it speaks to how good Pittsburgh really is, because most teams with a third-string quarterback don't make it that far, and they've done that for years. And I think not trying to say, like, not to rag on Big Ben, Big Ben was a great quarterback, but as far as when it comes to his generation, I mean, he's not in the upper echelon in that list.
Right.
But if you bring in a guy that's almost just like mid level in the sense, I mean, they could really wreck shop in the AFC North for sure. Like,
So,
yeah,
question. So you think they should get a Kirk Cousins, or should they? Because there's a lot of quarterbacks that's going to be coming out the next few years. There's a lot actually. There's a few, and you know that,
yeah.
especially with the transfer portal where there's a lot of quarterbacks moving around, so you actually can see them on TV now.
I mean, yeah. The only thing about that, if you were to get a quarterback, is you probably gonna have to draft high, and I think the way Pittsburgh, in my personal opinion, is set up,
Right,
they can make a run. I don't like. It's almost like the Kenny Pickett thing. It's like I don't wouldn't want to revisit that again as far as
right,
having that young quarterback and you got no team because like I mean honestly your team they're ready to make a run. I mean
right.
they can beat a Baltimore any kind of any
Hmm.
day of the week, Cincinnati,
Hmm.
Cleveland, all those teams they can beat. But like I said, but the problem with them is the quarterback play, and that's
Do
where
they
it's
do
like
they keep Kenny?
I mean, you can keep Kenny, but I wouldn't extend him. I mean, you can have him as your backup, and then you bring in Kirk Cousins, I think,
Right,
or Russell Wilson, because you still won't have the best quarterback in the division, but you'll have a formidable quarterback to go against all the other three that
right.
have established three good quarterbacks.
So that's my question. Like, do you think they pushed Kenny up there too early?
No, I mean they really didn't have no choice. I mean, who
Right,
was really there? I mean, that's the only thing about it. Like, now I can understand if Ben was there and like, hey, almost like a Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Love. I mean, Aaron Love, a Jordan Love situation where Jordan Love was able to sit on the bench for like 3 years, a la what Aaron Rodgers did with Brett Favre. But you don't, we don't, you don't see those type of days anymore. So, I
hmm,
mean, you had to because he was your first round pick. So it's almost like at this point, and that's how the NFL unfortunately is now, especially when it comes to your first round quarterbacks. You have to unfortunately have to throw them in the fire. I mean,
right.
that's just what it is, and I just think but if you're able to get a veteran quarterback, I think I would go for, it, especially
Yeah,
with Tom that 1 year on this deal. You go for it at this point. I mean, you you only got
absolutely.
1 year left on Mike T potentially, so why not go for it?
Damn, it's crazy that I would have to pick. If I had to pick from two, which one do I really want besides Russell Wilson and shit? What's my
Kirk
man's
Cousins,
name? Kirk
Kirk
Cousins.
Cousins.
Which one would I? That's crazy. Usually, back in the day, we'd be like, man, we want Russell. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he actually would be all right in that division. Because I still think there was like he had a nice run this year. At some points during the season, I know he started off rough, but towards the end before they benched him and did all that stuff, I mean, he was playing meaningful football. He went to Buffalo and won a game on Monday Night Football. Like, I mean, he went to Kansas City. I mean, did they beat? Yeah, they beat the Chiefs. Yeah, they won in Kansas City, but it was in Denver.
Right.
But I mean, he's done it. I mean, he's been proving the same thing with Kirk. I mean, I think especially I can see him and like George Pickens kind of have somewhat of a. I think he could put a little spark in Kenny Pickens. I think because I still think he's a talented guy. It's just who's throwing him the ball is the question in my personal
Pickens
opinion.
in.
And
Yeah.
then coupled with like you said, Najee, he can open up that play action. And I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I would if it was me, it would be Kirk Cousins.
It was me. I was thinking. That's what I'm saying. It's hard
Yeah,
because
it would
Russell
be.
Wilson,
Yeah.
who it is, it's hard. And I was thinking the same thing. It might because I think honestly, the weird thing I think towards the latter years, Kirk Cousins is actually better than what he used to, what he was.
Yeah, and I think he's like the average quarterback, which is fine in this day and age because the quarterback play has been so bad of late of other of what we see in NFL. So if
Hmm.
you can get a top 15 quarterback, coupled with what you already got in the personnel, almost like with the situation like he had in Minnesota in the sense, you look how good he was last year, and then even This year, they were on their way to, to do
Mm-hmm.
something successful. And then obviously he gets hurt. And then, and still, despite him being hurt, they still were playing meaningful football up until New Year's Eve. So,
Right.
um, yeah, if it was me, if I'm the GM in Pittsburgh, yeah, I would at least make a phone call or, fly him into Pittsburgh and kind of show him the facility and, show him
Yeah.
his, give him a jersey, bring the wife and kids. Maybe if he don't want to fly, he can bring the minivan or
Where's he from?
Kirk Cousins. I think he's from Michigan. I think he's
Okay.
from I think he's from Michigan or Indiana. He's like a Midwest guy for
That's
sure.
why I asked that question because I was looking at some stuff for the Steelers, and that stuff is extremely important. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got to deal with the mentality of being there. It's a certain mentality you got to have. If you don't have that, man, most likely you can tell when the ones that most likely about to leave. But yeah, I hear what you're saying though.
Yeah, it's possible. Let's see what Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is from Barrington, Illinois. So he's from Barrington, Illinois. Shout out to our research department. But
Right.
yeah, so so this is a very interesting topic to say the least. So I definitely want to talk about this. So and we talked about in the midst of wild card weekend. So um, as we all know, and we talked about it last week on the podcast, we called it. Me personally called the Kansas City Miami Dolphins wild card matchup last weekend is the Let Me Get That Password game, and we
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that because of the fact that this was going to be a Peacock exclusive game where they were going to broadcast this game exclusively on Peacock. So we got some raw numbers at this point, still kind of figuring it all out now, but so there was 23 million views. Now that's including the NBC broadcast because obviously they broadcast the game locally in the Kansas City market and also in the Miami market. So coupled with those two factors, plus the people who watched the game on Peacock, it was 23 million views. Compared to the NBC standalone game, the game earlier between the Browns and the Texans, that drew $29 million, 29 million views, and that was on NBC. So other streams that we have, other higher streams was the 15.26 million viewers versus the Seahawks and Cowboys game earlier in the season. Well, not early in the season, but a few months ago. I think it was like right around like Thanksgiving. I think like in November. I think right after Thanksgiving. I think that
Mm-hmm.
game. And then also they had a 7.3 million views for the Bills versus Chargers. That was that Peacock only game that Sunday before Christmas. No, not that Sunday, but that Saturday before Christmas game. So, and so my biggest thing is obviously what you're seeing, even with the raw numbers, the success of this being streamed because they saying that's this game on Saturday was the most streamed live sporting event in history. My thing is, how long are we from having a pay-per-view Super Bowl, and just your thoughts on the future of streaming and how far you think this is gonna get, like as far as how crazy this streaming thing is gonna get.
I don't know. Usually I have an answer for that. I think it's going to be big, but I don't even want to think about them having a pay per view Super Bowl. That would be crazy. You know what I mean? That I'm not playing. Like I'm just thinking in general, the money that would come in, and then at the same time, the people that would probably turn their back on it. You know what I mean? Because they gotta pay. You know what I mean? Make a payment to see the Super Bowl. That's crazy to think about. But at the same time, I was at a bar watching the playoffs, and I'll be honest with you, not everybody had Peacock. You know what I mean? So a couple of customers that was still there, they the ones put on the Peacock to connect it to the Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? Um, so it was cool, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like, damn, I can't watch the game because they don't have Peacock. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I know cables, going down, and I know streaming is going up. So eventually, I'm not going to have that issue. You know what I'm saying? But it's still cool, man. That that they're making they're moving towards the future and even accepting streaming.
Yeah. So I the Peacock thing I don't like, but
Yeah, there
I'll
you go.
talk about that. I take that talk about that momentarily.
Right.
Now, as far as will we ever get a pay-per-view Super Bowl, I could potentially see this. I say maybe about 10, 15 years from now. I could potentially see that happening, and
Hmm.
how I think the path is going to be. Because obviously you look at Peacock, which is obviously an NBC, product of NBC. And then I think what's going to happen maybe next year is Paramount Plus, which is the CBS
Hmm.
equivalent of it, that the CBS streaming service.
Right.
I can see them potentially having a stream for one of their playoff games, maybe like a prime time game, maybe a wild card weekend or divisional. That, and I think that's going to kind of start, and then I think it's going to grow more. I can see them even having a standalone game in the regular season, or like one of these holiday matchups, like we did with Peacock, where they had the Bills and the Bills and the Chargers game. I can see
Hmm.
that potentially happening. My issue with that, honestly, now I'm okay with like Amazon, because those are like kind of standalone, your Thursday night games, this, that, and the third. Now, with Sunday Ticket being on YouTube TV, I get that, because that's if you especially if you want to watch out of market games, that's fine, and that's something that you essentially want to get. It's not like something forced on you.
Hmm.
When it comes to Peacock, when it comes to Peacock and Paramount. Now remember, these aren't cable television streams. This is
Right.
like terrestrial television. So this,
Right.
I mean, I know I sound archaic. So if y'all know what terrestrial means, that's pretty much a TV that you can watch through an antenna.
Hello,
So
Google.
basically,
That's wrong. Go ahead. I'm
pretty
sorry.
much, right. So basically, like when our parents were kids, they said, oh, the only thing we used to watch was 6, 8, and 12. And they're referring to like Fox, not Fox, but they're
Right.
referring to ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Hmm.
That's my biggest issue, because normally those stations, you'll be able to watch the games regardless. That's what made how it should be, and I think it should stay that way when it comes to leave the terrestrial television alone, because I
Hmm.
think you're gonna set the door for that, where it's like, because at least you knew, okay, if I don't have cable, if I don't have cable, okay, I won't be able to see the Thursday night games because I don't have Amazon. So,
Hmm.
or Sunday Ticket, it is what it is. But I can always guarantee that I'm going to be able to watch a game on Fox on Sunday and CBS, and then I can still watch Sunday Night Football on NBC. And this is with just an antenna. I don't have to pay anything. It's just your birthright. It's like me
Right.
watching the news every day. Your
Right.
your local channel. So that's my biggest issue. I can understand the other streaming networks, but I think when you're
Right.
dealing with those networks, I think that's where I draw the line. And I know I understand, yes, it's $5.99 today. And I didn't mind paying the $5.99 for a January 13th, 2024 game, but in 6 years, it's not gonna be $5.99.
Mhm.
It's gonna be probably double or triple the price.
Okay.
In 20 years from now,
Right.
it'll probably quadruple the price or quintuple at this point.
So can I ask you a question? Do
Yeah.
you Grubhub or Uber Eats and all that a lot?
From time to time. I mean,
From time.
I don't
Right.
do it often.
So like a lot of like older generations than us, like a lot of people our generation, somewhat do it, but not like the generations younger than us. So I think the generation that's younger than us is not going to mind to do that because they really don't watch cable. They come turn their five on, they turn their Xbox on, they do everything through that. They don't even watch cable. They the ones that actually have these apps on their video game system or their Fire Stick or whatever, because they don't really watch cable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and right now it's still mixed up, and that's why we're talking about it. But eventually, it is going to trickle away because my daughter's generation, my brother's generation is still there, but the ones after him, that's what they do. Like most kids that's teenagers or whatever, they don't even, or even if they got their license, they don't even go to Wendy's. There used to be a thing for us to go to Wendy's at 12 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Because it closed at 1. They don't do that. You know what they're doing? They're ordering Grubhub, pay that $20 or $15, just you know what I mean, for a
Yeah.
milkshake or something. It's like, and they don't understand that they're actually spending more money by doing that, but they like, I don't want to leave, so I'd rather just pay that money just to have them bring me a milkshake or go to 7-Eleven and get me some Doritos. So what we're talking about, it, yeah, it makes sense to us because we understand the value of a dollar, where they don't. They're gonna be like, we don't even watch cable. You know what I'm saying? So I'll pay the uh, uh, 13.99 for the Peacock. But I will say this: I hope they be smart. If don't, because like HBO, it should be HBO Max, and they were charging 14.99. Well, it's Max now, and they got rid of a lot of stuff that was on there. So don't think just because you have this name that you can charge people and everything's gonna work itself out. It will put you in a bind. You know what I mean? So you be smart and make it affordable and convenient for people.
But that's the issue. That's what I think.
Right.
That's what draws a line where,
Right.
yes, it's affordable today,
Right.
but when, like I said, 10, 15 years, it may
Right.
not be as affordable. And like you said,
Right.
because if they know they got you for that, like I think what's going to ultimately potentially happen one day, I don't know if it's going to happen, in this decade, but I can see it like in the 2030s where, and it might happen earlier, where Sunday Night Football might be exclusively on Peacock.
Right.
Like you will not be able to watch Sunday Night Football on NBC no more.
Right.
It's only gonna be a Peacock only. And like you said, what's gonna end up happening once it start becoming exclusive, that's when I think the problem is gonna draw the line where they're gonna up the price because we all know that this broadcasting deals are gonna skyrocket as everything goes up. And then they're gonna offer you less. I mean, like we've seen that with every streaming service. We
Right.
talked up, so especially if they know you have the NFL, and especially if you're a core fan of the NFL,
Mm.
and that's why I like if you watch on Peacock, they wanted to get your info. Oh, they was like, would you like the NFL? Would you like to submit some data to the NFL? I'm like, oh, I see what y'all trying to do. You're trying to gather data, like you said, because to get to a point, like you said, it's gonna get
Right.
to a point where you're gonna get it, but they're gonna they're going to make it to a point where it becomes exclusive, and then it's like, and then they're gonna skip you on stuff. It's like
Right.
everything, like like we call, like I call it like the Chipotle theory. Like we talked about it at the
Yeah.
show one
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
like where hey, remember 6 years ago you used to get a nice big portion. Now all of a sudden
Right.
they light-handed with the chicken, but they
Right.
heavy on the beans and the rice. But
Right.
I'm here for the NFL. I'm here for the chicken.
Right.
But you giving me, little baby scoops.
I mean,
But
you
yeah,
you just have to be smart. I mean, it's really no joke. Like I think the prime candidate is HBO Max. Like you thought that you was gonna be able to get Game of Thrones again every year. You're gonna get all these shows. Then all of a sudden the writers joint happened.
right. Yep.
Everything we didn't get a bunch of the Star Wars stuff. They said that they was going not Star Wars but DC movies. All this stuff, this package that you said that you were going to have, and it was one of the most horrible apps I had ever seen. So now they revamped it and called it Max. But now everybody's like, I'm not paying 13.99 for this. That it's not. It's like HBO used to have the brand new movies, a bunch of stuff HBO
Yep.
had. But
Yep.
by the time we got that application, they didn't have none of that stuff. And then, I was done once they got rid of that Lakers show. Oh, I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
Winning
was,
time. Yep.
yeah, I was done. I was like, nah, see, that's it. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah, and
And one more thing,
yeah.
one more thing. And then that's HBO Max, and that was charging 13.99. But then if you go to Stars, that's 5.99. I think Showtime was 9.99. They moved it down to 5.99. And it's truth be told, that's affordable. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's affordable. But it's the NFL, and I wonder. Okay, I wonder because I know Hulu was talking about doing some sports. Will Hulu have it also? Because they kind
Well,
of
I mean, yeah, like those. I don't like. like I don't mind in a sense because those are kind of like they stand alone.
Right.
Like if you're gonna replace something that's on television that I can normally get, because Hulu would be just like what you got now. They have live sports because you're
Right.
paying for it because they have like ESPN, they got
Right.
packages. I don't
Right.
mind that. But for something that you should be able to just watch, like I watch on my antenna,
Right.
should be free. But
Right.
now you're charged. Now you're having standalone apps that standalone games that I have to actually get a subscribe service that I don't
Right.
currently have. Well, not me, but I'm talking about the average person that don't
Right.
have Peacock.
So,
That's the issue.
so let me ask a question. I think some people got Peacock because of internet service or whatever, right? Maybe cell
Yeah.
service. I don't know. So did you have to still pay to watch the game?
Well, no, you just had to sign up for Peacock.
Okay. Okay.
That's
So
yeah.
okay. Okay. So I'm just sitting there just getting more information. I hope they
No.
just be smart, man, and think of the consumer.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Where people aren't, and I think that's what's going to ultimately happen. Where they're going to have people that don't have the service sign up for the service. So like think about like when Bel Air came out, you had to get Peacock to get Bel Air.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Mm-hmm.
almost like that. Where that's how I think the NFL, like you said, like I think where Paramount's gonna go next. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
think they're gonna maybe potentially toy with that next year, where I can see them having a standalone playoff game on Paramount Plus only, but
Right.
you cannot watch it on your CBS
Right.
that's on your antenna. That's
Right.
where I draw the line.
Right.
That's
Right.
where I'm like something that I could literally watch for free,
Right.
even though you get all these bells and whistles. But you know why I'm here. I'm here for
Right.
the football game. I'm not here to watch episodes of How I Met Your Mother. No,
Right.
I'm not here for that. I'm not here to
Right.
watch 30 Rock. I'm not here to
Right.
watch. I'm here to watch Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Miami Dolphins. Everything
Right.
else you can throw away. You know why I'm here. And you know why dozens of your NFL fans are here. We're not
Right.
here to watch reruns of 30 Rock or Night Court, or whatever other NBC, the Cosby Show, or whatever they got on
They should give you an
NBC.
option for that.
Peacock.
But that would be pay per view then. They should give you an option to watch that. And like if they charge you $5.99, they should charge you like $2.99 or something like that.
It should be free.
Yeah, it
It
really
should
should
be
be free.
free because it's
Yeah.
something I can watch on
Oh,
my
free.
television.
Right. It should
I
be
can
free.
watch on my television.
Yeah, they bugging.
Right, and that's why, and I can, like I said, I can understand the other ones because, like Amazon, like if I didn't have, like I can have the choice of not having Amazon
Right.
because that's just it. It is what it is.
Right.
Hulu, the same thing. Hulu got live sports as we all know. Dame and all them has told us, but that's my choice. And I'm almost sound like almost feel like I almost feel like a civil rights activist at this point, where it's like you are my choice of not, you're taking away the choice of free television that I would
Right.
have normally got. That game would have been on television
Right.
for us to consume.
And I'm telling you, I was at a bar. And one dude was there, co-owner, and he was watching the games, and he put it on. He was like, "Man, I gotta leave." So I'm like, my homeboy, his wife is working there, and he put it on there. And I was just sitting there like, "This is really bad business. That it's Sunday, and you guys don't have the wild card, the playoffs on TV. You know what I mean? Because it's not on regular TV. That just yeah, like it's like they almost like taking stuff like the playoffs. A lot of times in playoffs, you get to see family you ain't seen in a while. Like, and I get it. Like, it should really be on regular TV or just free.
Yeah, that. Oh, and then think about this. Imagine like people that Sunday ticket people where you pay YouTube TV. What the bare minimum is? What 70? I think like $75 a month,
Right.
and then you're paying for a $400 package. You imagine you paying all that, and then you still are not able to watch playoff games. That's
Right.
crazy. That's bizarre.
Right.
But
Right.
but trust.
That is
I ain't.
crazy.
Yeah, if crazy, very crazy, and I don't know. I just hope that there's a change of that, and I know understand it's gonna get it's gonna get worse, but
I think they trying to figure it out. I see a lot of merging. You know what I'm saying? I think they really
Yeah.
like let's say if you get Sling TV or something like that. Like it seemed like they trying to figure it out. You know what
But
I
you
mean?
see, and that's to your point where you see how like those apps in the infant stages of those, they were cheap. They were,
Yeah,
I remember like they were like $25 a month.
yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
TV was extremely cheap because that used to
Right,
be our way of okay, we're cutting the cord. But it's
right,
almost to a point where we literally need to just go back to cable because if we're paying 80 some dollars a month
right, right,
for what we was trying to avoid seven,
right.
8 years ago, we back at where we were, and it's
Yeah,
even worse. Like in like to your theory, where when you get something initially, you think it's better, but you're better
right,
off just getting cable and having the 8 million channels that they offer compared to like you said,
right.
going to HBO and now it's Max, where you get you don't get the kid and caboodle anymore. You just get the
Yeah,
kid.
right.
So it's yeah, it's yeah, and as a middle aged man, I'm.
No, I mean I'm with you. You know what I mean? You got to. It's really time to start the catering to somebody. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
because
but it's gonna be wild out here.
I blame myself though because I remember having Direct TV back in the day, and they would tell you like, look, they're trying to overcharge. What y'all need to do is write your congressman. Like, you know what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
don't have this channel because they are really, really trying to overcharge for us to have this channel. And we just be
correct.
like, what is you talking about? And then
I
next thing
agree.
you know, cable is like, well, because basic cable, you got one of everything. And then all of a sudden,
Yep.
well, you can get this package right here, but you won't have ESPN. I said, I can't have one ESPN. No,
Yep.
sir, I'm sorry. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yep. Versus cable, you get 8 ESPNs. You get ESPN College Extra. Like you can watch. I didn't know they had a red zone when I had Comcast, and I'm like, are you kidding me? They had a red zone for college football, and I'm like, I, do you think we get that in 2024? No. You get ESPN, ESPN2, and that's it. No Deportes, no ESPN3, none of
right.
that. You don't get that no more. That's what I'm
Mm,
saying. Like, be careful what you ask for. Oh, we got to
right,
cut the cord. But now, like
right,
you said, then it's already coupled with, like you talked about it. We talked about it too. Like, okay, Amazon, the Sunday ticket.
right,
Then you're gonna have to probably spend $6 for Peacock, $9 for Paramount Plus.
right,
Is that
right.
no?
And then they whining because we really could just save each other's passwords. And then now, like that is the extreme headache right now with
And you
Netflix.
see, yeah, you see it with
Yeah,
Netflix.
and
Yep.
I'm tripping on Netflix. I was like, I've been a customer with you guys since like 2011,
You
and
see,
and I'm like, I'm tripping. Like, if somebody that I know in Ohio was watching it, and they've been
yep,
like, these the same people that's been watching the
yep.
same Netflix account for years, and then I'm sitting here like, hey, they about to send you something. Do you want to update this? I can't even watch it. So like my daughter and my peoples can. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm like, that's crazy. I've had a family account for almost 10 years.
And they're telling me they started to become the gold standard because I'm telling you, like it's just they doing it now. You look at Sam Club because I used to go into Sam Club, use my mama
Right.
card. Now they like you need to grow up and get your own. You're a grown man.
Yeah.
Hey, it's one per household, and I'm like, what do you mean by that? So I gotta be an adult to get a Sam's Club membership.
That's crazy. What if you
That ain't
traveling?
fair. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like all type of stuff. It's just like, but I mean, then like I said, that's another industry standard because what's going to end up happening, like you said, once you get those services, you ain't gonna be able to share it because that Netflix, this is where like and I love how we're doing all these different parallels because they're the industry standard. The same thing
Right.
going on with Peacock when it comes to streaming NFL games. They're starting to be the standard where
Right.
you're gonna start seeing, like then what's next? Like I said, it's gonna be Paramount. So
That is so crazy. Like the
man,
whole setup of having a streaming service was you could take it and then leave and go somewhere else and watch it.
Nope.
They going by
Right.
the Wi-Fi. Oh, we just gonna have to go by the
Yep.
Wi-Fi and ask them.
Yep.
What?
Because if you're in another state, yep, they'll send you like a message to be like, hey, you gotta log in from, Butte, Montana.
Like, are you traveling? None of your none
Right.
of your motherfucking
I
business.
know.
Like, you know what I mean?
Even the bank don't even ask you that. And it's
Like,
my money.
I just can't watch my little show.
Yeah,
You
man.
know, that's crazy.
Like, damn, man.
Maybe stop paying people. No disrespect. Like Dave Chappelle, $50 million for a stand up. Maybe that's the issue.
I don't
No
know.
offense, I don't want to pocket, but I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
But yeah, but that's the thing about those services. They got to pony up because they need content, and he's a draw. So it's like it's one of those
See?
where right. I mean, I'm not trying to like defend it, but I'm
No,
saying
I know you
like
ain't.
you said, you going on Netflix, and it's
I
like
know
you
you
said,
ain't.
it get to a
Yeah.
point where what your boy Cat said. what your boy Cat said. If I want to see such an entertainer, I can't even find him on Tubi or Netflix. But no, let me
Babalicious.
chill out with that. Right?
Babalicious. Hey man, come up here, bring a beer, Babalicious. Hey man, what you call him? Oh yeah. All I think
but
about is my favorite act right there. Hey man, what you call him? Babalicious. Anyway, my
yeah,
bad.
boy, yeah, it's all good. But yeah, man. So we'll go into the association for a little bit. So we're gonna talk about a trade that went down today in the association where Pascal Siakam was traded to the Indianapolis Pacers. Surprising. So obviously in that deal, the Pacers did get Pascal Siakam, a second round pick from the New Orleans Pelicans, while the Raptors got Bruce Brown, Jordan Noir, uh, Kira Lewis. They also got two first round picks in 2024 from the Indiana Pacers, one of their own, but they also have like a pick swap, I think, between the Utah Jazz, the LA Clippers, Houston Rockets, and I think it was the OKC Thunder. So whatever's the lowest of those four teams, because I think they got that pick, will go to the Raptors as well. So they'll get that, and then they also get a first round pick in 2026 that actually does belong to the Pacers as well. So they'll get two that actually belong to the Pacers, one this year. Their other first round pick from, like I talked about earlier, as far as from the lowest out of the four teams that was mentioned in that extra first round pick they had. And then yeah, so what's your thoughts on Pascal Siakam now I'll put it this way. Your thoughts on the big three in Indy this so far. What you got? What's your thoughts on the big three now in Indy?
Um, Congratulations to him. You know, I feel like he was one of the big reasons that nobody really talks about them winning the championship. Nick Nurse is not there. Seemed like they like the Raptors coach said that he really wanted to move forward with another player. When they played the Lakers, he was screaming that. He said he think this guy was going to be
Scotty
the face,
Barnes.
face of the
Scotty Barnes,
league.
the face league.
So great for him. One question I got is what is up with Bruce Brown that no team really wants him? Because wasn't he with uh um
The Nets.
he was with the Nets and he was
Nets.
balled at the Nets. Then
Nets.
he won a championship with the Nuggets.
Nuggets.
He goes to the Pacers, and you know the Pacers is actually a team that everybody's looking at this year. And they traded. I wouldn't have thought they would have got rid of him. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I'm
Yeah.
guessing the contract was then they got him going to the Raptors, and I was like, well, damn, is something going on with him where people just willing to let go of him? You know what I mean? That's just something I saw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have
Yeah.
no evidence or anything. But man, great trade. I'm happy that he's there. I'm sure he probably needed a new surrounding. Is he from Canada?
Who? Bruce Brown?
No.
Pascal?
Yeah.
I don't know where Pascal is actually from. Pascal's probably, I don't even know. I don't know where Pascal Siakam's from.
But yeah, man, I think great coach. I think they got some young lions on the team. I think they got some. I think they needed some, especially after Giannis went wild out on them that one time. I think now they got I don't think any of those sort of things are going to happen because they got some muscle. They got some grit. They got some high flyers. They got some shooters. You know what I mean? They still got Miles Turner. What's my man that used to play for the Kings with the buck teeth?
Oh, Buddy Hield.
They would be Buddy Hill, but like Buddy Hill, you got Halliburton. They gonna be all right, B, for real.
Yeah, so Pascal is from Cameroon. He's from Cameroon.
Where's that at?
What you mean? Where's it?
What's Cameroon?
It's in Cameroon. Is in
Cameroon.
Cameroon. I mean, from a geography standpoint, I mean, where's Cameroon? I think that's in the South. Cameroon. I think it was in like Albert. What's it in Central Africa? I think.
Okay. So I was just wondering if he was from Canada. Maybe that was his home.
Nah. He's from Cameroon. I think Cameroon is in Africa. Hopefully my social studies teacher from the 90s didn't fail me, but I think Cameroon is in Africa.
But I know it's a lot of extra thing when with this trade, but that was the main thing. I was happy that he got out of there. Maybe he can start fresh. I think he was one of those players a couple years ago. I was saying I wish one of my teams that I like would get him.
Yeah, I'd like it, especially for the Pacers. I think making that move is, as far as it's going to solidify them. I mean, you look at, especially, obviously with the coach with Rick Carlisle, you got, I say, the big three. In a sense, especially when you think about like the Eastern Conference, you have a lot of big three tandem in a sense. And you look at, you bringing in Halliburton, now, as far as having Halliburton, he's like the emerging star. And then also Pascal is another one. He's a two-time All-Star. He's playing at an All-Star level at this point. I think he's averaging a little over 22 a game. And then a couple with Miles Turner. I like this move. And it just shows you, like you said, and I think and going back to the Raptors as well, you look at now they're rebuilding. They're, like you said, they're building around Scotty Barnes, and now you're bringing in somewhat of a youth movement. You also bring in RJ Barrett a few weeks ago, and also Emmanuel Quickly. I think they're like 23, 24 respectively. And then you bring in a guy like a Bruce Brown, who's actually having a career year this year.
Right.
To them, and he's 27 years old. He brings a defensive presence. So I definitely think, and then coupled with, I'm not saying to say like 2024 is going to be a sexy year as far as draft pick wise, but they could potentially get some pieces on that team. Not saying that they're gonna, couple, a superstar with Barnes or what have you. But I think these, if they draft right, they could potentially have two guys in their rotation, coupled with this youth movement that we got in Toronto. And I think they're just, I think they've just realized, hey, we're just going in a different direction. This is the best that we can get at this point for Pascal. I know Golden State, a lot of people was looking at Golden State as potentially like, a potential suitor for him. I know a lot of rumors were linking him towards that opportunity there, but I like it. I think like the Pacers, especially now, if you want to be, a contending team in the Eastern Conference, you got to have a formidable three. And I think you have these guys that, not saying that they're going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, but on any given night, I think they could give Milwaukee the business. They can give Boston the business, potentially the Sixers, as it is current day without any roster movement, which I think there will be some roster movement, especially with the Sixers potentially. Or any of these teams, thus far, but as we're talking January 17th of 2024, I like this trio that they got in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too. I was, they got some people over there. They got some people on that.
Yeah.
They remind me of a young Sacramento Kings from last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They legitimate. Yeah. They got, especially Halliburton, he's like emerging, and I think like they got a nice, and it's crazy because I think Halliburton can carry this team, and then you also got like a guy like a Siakam that could, as far as kind of take the weight off him on certain nights, and it's kind of one of those where they got like they got a nice, and then also you got a guy like a Miles Turner who's, pretty much kind of versatile at that 5 positions. He can kind of do some things there where he has a versatility. He's not just the classic big man of old. He got he can move the floor, he can help spacing and what
Mhm.
have you. So yeah, I think especially then I like to talk about early. Rick Carlisle.
Yeah,
I think he's still always still a great coach. I mean,
right,
regardless of contrary to some people belief, but I think he has a nice. He's established him, established a nice roster in India. I know
right,
when he kind of went there from Dallas. I like, that's kind of that's interesting move. But now you're kind of seeing the fruits of that labor and kind of the fruition of what could potentially happen with this team. So,
right.
so yeah, for sure. So we gotta talk about a very interesting night in Chicago on Friday night. So um we and Friday the Chicago Bulls had their ring of honor. This is their inaugural celebration. So most teams have their ring of honor, but the Chicago Bulls had their first annual. So they had they honored a few people, obviously of the past, but most notably they honored the 1996 Chicago Bulls, the 72 and 10 team that won the championship. This, that, and the third. In this ring of honor, Michael Jordan wasn't present, but he did do a video tribute. Scotty didn't show up and didn't do the video tribute, and also Dennis Rodman did not show up, but he also had did a video tribute as well. So they played that during the ceremony. But there was one instance in this where obviously the late Jerry Krause was obviously unfortunately he has passed away. So they did have a image. They how can I say that broadcasted, but what we would do, we do have the video of the presentation of it. So without giving out that, I mean, we've all seen it, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the video. And matter of fact, I need to get that queued up. I don't know why I didn't get this queued up earlier, but it is what it is. So we're going to get that queued up. So before we do this, definitely before we get going, fair use, fair use, fair use. And we will get that going right now.
Six-time NBA champion, two-time NBA Executive of the Year, represented by his wife Thelma, Basketball Hall of Famer and former Bulls general manager Jerry Krause.
All right. So, we'll. You've seen the video where some of Bulls fans booing Jerry Krause and his grieving wife crying. During that exchange there. So, Mal, what's your thoughts on what happened Friday night?
So of course I asked you to put this as a topic. That's my first time seeing it, and I didn't know Michael didn't show up. I didn't know Scotty didn't show up, and I didn't know Ryman didn't show up, even though they played videos. And I'm just sitting here like, why would y'all booing? I mean, I talked to some people that I thought would be empathetic about it, and they was like, they should boo him though. I mean, they shouldn't have done it, blah blah blah. But he said there's a good reason for them to boo him. But then I get to, and I'm just being honest with you, I get to digging deep and looking at stuff. It's like this dude is from Chicago. He part of the reasons of why the White Sox even won. He picked the general manager and the manager for the White Sox that won the World Series. And how long was it before they even had a World Series since 2005? Wasn't it like, it was a long time, wasn't it?
I'm here.
So like, after the Bulls, he still was successful. We all know who Michael Jordan is, and you know what I mean. But I think that he was a scout and he had a good eye for he just was a good scout. He had a good eye for things to move forward. It's just after Michael Jordan, it just didn't work out when it pertaining to the Bulls. But then I found out that he was a scout for the damn Lakers. That's crazy. He was a part-time scout for the Lakers when the Lakers was winning. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. He was a part-time scout for them at the same time when he signed um Kenny Williams. Yeah, Kenny Williams and Ozzie Gullen, I think his name Gullen or something like that.
Osgean, oh yeah,
Ozzie Guillen, yeah,
Osgean,
yeah.
yeah,
You know what I'm
from
saying? So
yeah.
I'm just sitting here like I understand that you're upset, but at the same time, all that greatness and from him being from Chicago and all that greatness and things that he built that team, regardless of what y'all think, he wanted them to draft Phil Jackson when he was in the draft back in '67. I seen that today. And he stayed in contact with him, and him and Phil used to. He liked how Phil would see the details in the game. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just a lot of people when he traded Stacey King to get Horace. I think who did he get? Like drafted Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen to get Dennis Rodman. He traded on Purdue. You know what I'm saying? Like he just did a lot. He made and no offense to Michael Jordan. I know he probably was upset because he didn't do what Michael wanted him to do. But part of Michael being great, Mr. Cross had a lot to do with that. Do you agree, Coach?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So my take with this was you being a Chicago fan. I just wanted to get your take on, and they shouldn't have booed her, even though, and especially when they saw she was there, they should have cheered. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't no telling what else that man did for the community or whatever. I understand they was upset um, about the decisions of getting rid of Phil and this, and that, but hey,
Yeah. Yeah. Like to me, this was despicable. I think I mean, it's to a point you cannot boo this woman. I mean, and my thing is the only thing if you would have booed if Jared was alive. And
mm-hmm.
I don't like, and I know people got the excuse well we didn't know Thelma was gonna be there. I don't care if it was Thelma. I don't care if it was her children. I don't care if nobody was there. You're booing a dead man. So it's like I didn't understand it. I thought that was by far one of the most despicable acts, and just the whole booing of what like it does not matter. Like I think people got to understand like that like this is there was no excuse to that because I know they was like, well, they didn't see her. I don't care if you didn't see her or not. You cannot boo this man, and you know he's no longer here, so he cannot take those boos and what have you. And his wife, she didn't deserve that because she's not in the crossfire of this. And my thing with this whole situation with this, and I think honestly, it's been 25 years. Like you guys gotta let this go. I don't want to necessarily put blame on it, but I think the Last Dance really was one of those things where it reinvigorated that hatred for Jerry Krause, and I hate that happened because we talked about this when the documentary came out in 2020, where you know even referring to him in those nicknames wasn't fair. And I think I don't know if Jerry Krause was still alive when the taping of all of it because I know he passed away in 2017. I don't know when the production of The Last Dance really happened, but still, even even though he passed on, some of those stuff shouldn't have been on in the documentary. But to me, yeah, I mean, as you get older and you really realize, I mean, Jerry Krause made some heavy moves. I think the one that really stood out was getting rid of Charles Oakley and trading him for Bill Cartwright. I
Right.
think a lot of people, obviously, you think about it, of course, George will be pissed because you traded my best friend to the New York Knicks. So of course,
Mm-hmm.
there's always going to be some type of resentment that George is going to have for Jerry Krause. So that's where
Mm-hmm.
it stems from. But I think as you get older and you really realize Jerry Krause did his job as a general manager. He what he did was to make this team a better basketball team. Now, like you said, after the championship, that wasn't the best, and I thought I was seeing the plans of Jerry Krause as far, especially, at the time, when he had Elton Brand, Ron Artest. I thought they were going to build a core, but then that's when we got at the time, Tyson Chandler, Eddie Curry, and all type of stuff. So but those things, when you think about it, it's hard to win a championship. But regardless of what he did past 1998, it should still be celebrated. And I like it's one of those where, and I guarantee you, those kids that boo, I mean, the people that boo, they're probably 30 and younger, so they weren't around in 1997 when all this stuff was going down, and then becoming a adult and really realizing the nature of the business and what transpired and the reason why Jordan did not like Jerry Krause. So that's why I look at The Last Dance kind of one of the things where, because you got to think to yourself, 25 years, we got to let it go. Like this, thank you for the memories. It just didn't work out playing this day. So I never got it. Huh?
It did. You got 6 championships.
Right.
Like I mean, and in the history books, stamped. To me, I'm gonna be honest with you. I know people like, man, we could have made a couple more runs. Bet. But y'all went out on top. And you could say we went out on top because I'm gonna tell you something. You know how many people I see that when the end of their career, how like disappointing it could be. Like I was a big Roy Jones fan, right? He was like Superman to me. Man, when you see him younger and somebody like literally just tap his head and he get that glazed look in his eye,
Yeah.
it's the saddest thing in the world because he was like Superman. He was super fast, everything. You know what I mean? So like one thing the Bulls could say, and it's probably gonna be a long time for there ever a team to beat their record. You know, the team that almost beat it, they almost out the, they about to probably split them up,
Yeah.
and then they lost terribly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I'm just saying, and regardless, he was the wizard that put that together for Michael Jordan. Like, no offense, and I ain't Michael, and I get it, but Mike got to sit back and really be like, man, I was young. Clearly, I'm not good with building teams. You know what I'm saying? And I got a guy who, when I said do this, he said, no, I'm gonna give you this. Like he went and got Scotty Williams and BJ Armstrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he traded Stacey King to get Luke Longley. Now, these names aren't like top 10 names, but how important were they to the Bulls? Luke
Yeah.
Longley and you know what I'm saying, BJ Armstrong and Horace Grant. You know what I mean? It's crazy to me.
Hiring Phil Jackson, because that's
Hiring Phil
another
Jackson.
one, because that's where, you know, that's became the evolution of Michael Jordan, where he was able to trust his teammates. That's why, like, you see a Steve Kerr hitting a shot or John Paxson hitting the three to win a third championship. Him believing in his teammates and him passing the ball. Where, you know, if he would have been with Doug Collins, which Doug Collins is like, and I hate to say this out loud, I'm shout to Kwame Bust Life, but let me chill out with that. Let me be serious. But anyway, he was a Jordan enabler. So Jordan would have been, Jordan, if Doug would have stayed in Chicago, Jordan would have, he'd have been scoring 30-something points per game, but the team probably wouldn't have been going nowhere. So
and that's what sucks, man. Because when you really look at Cross was looking out for you, Mike. I'm gonna be real with you, bro.
Yeah.
You know damn well. Look, they said when they found out he traded Oakley, they was at a Mike Tyson fight in Vegas.
Yep.
And he went and got Cartwright, who your rival is the Knicks. Your rival has always been Patrick Ewing. And Cartwright ended up winning, being like defensive player of the year or one of the biggest defensive players against. It was one of the best moves ever. You know that. You know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, another move, like you said, then like we talked about it, and even in the Last Dance, with I have coming out the foot injury, he was, Krause wanted to put him on what we call now like a load management type of scenario where, hey, get a minutes restriction, but he was against that, but like you said, and it's almost like you see like he planted the seeds of hatred in that movie. And like I said, I guarantee you, I don't have any inconclusive evidence or a shot of a doubt or burden of proof or smoking gun that suggests that. But you gotta think to yourself, if you really think about The Last Dance, there was a lot of plants lot of seeded plants as far as Jordan's hatred to Jerry Krause. And it's kind of one of the things, and it's one of those where I think this is ultimately stems from. But like I said, and I felt so bad for Thelma, really bad. My heart went out for her because she didn't deserve this. And you think to yourself, this should have been a moment for her to be able to commemorate her husband. And then now this is another thing that adds on to her grief. This should have been a moment where she should have been proud. This should have been a moment where, okay, tonight, let's just let bygones be bygones. Applaud for this man. We see his wife is there. Let's show her some love to let her know she still loved this community. Let her know that, we might have had some fundamental differences of how we looked at Jerry, but we still love you and love what he did to this team because, like you said, there's six rings here for a reason, and I understand. Yes, Jordan, it's the players, but also you gotta put the team together because especially as we know how us watching the NBA for years. There's so many good basketball teams that been on paper, but was never able to manifest that into a championship, and they was able to get 6. So I just felt so bad for them. I think everybody in that damn arena should have gave her a hug. Like it's to a point where and say I'm sorry.
Right.
Because that's just it was uncalled for.
Right. And one more thing. He's from Chicago, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I'm sure and he helped the Chicago White Sox. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's no telling probably, and I don't know. I'm sure he did a lot of stuff for the community. I bet he did. He's from Chicago. You know what I mean? So I think more than that it should have been, it is what it is, though.
Yeah, but yeah, man, Chicago, you gotta do better, man. This you're a first class sports city.
I will say this: I did look at the record after '98, though. It did. Yeah, it got a little serious. I was like, well, damn, okay.
It was bad. Yeah, I think they were like 13-37. That was a lockout year. Man, there was some bad times. The baby Bulls and
oh my God.
But even with that, even as a teenager, I looked at that and was like, I mean, it's a part of life. I mean, you can, you're going to have some down years, and we've had some extreme down years. But I mean, for a franchise to win 6 now, thinking as an adult, I mean, yes, this 25 years have sucked, but good Lord, like this, you're going to be hard pressed to find a team that's going to win 6 championships in an 8-year span. And honestly. Right. And then your best player was gone for a year and a half.
Right.
It's like just imagine if he didn't retire in '93. Like we literally could have potentially had 8 championships in 8 years.
Right.
So what a run.
Yeah, and it's a trip too, man, because I just hope they didn't like set the karma up, like you know what I'm saying, like set themselves up, like because regardless of what they have, I mean, you can look at the Lakers, the same thing. They won champions, and for the longest, they didn't win any championships. Then Magic came, so you can look at the scenario and be like, man, look, they just got to change it up. That was kind of messed up. There's no answer.
And a lot of the curse was attributed to at the time. A lot of people look at their perception, the narrative that was placed against Jerry Krause, because you think about the summer of 2020, where that's when you had the free agency of Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, Tim Duncan, all these guys coming to Chicago, and then like you said, and Kevin Garnett also I think was a part of that class as well too.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but I'm not sure. But yeah, all of them was a part of that class 2000, where they came to Chicago, and a lot of it was attributed to we didn't like how you treated Michael Jordan. So it's like you said, that's always been. But that's what I'm saying. This is
right.
This is 2000 now. This ain't
right. I know. I'm just like,
right. And that's one thing where the narrative. So just imagine that was 24 years ago. And then fast forward where, you look at it from that standpoint, and you're looking now as, he's being booed and this, that, and the third. But I mean,
I would love to ask them that question now. If you can go back and you could sit with Cross and look what he did to help Michael get there, would you have a different perception, saying this guy is going to build the best team around me. Like you got the greatest
Yeah.
player and probably the most hard-headed and most stubborn player ever that
Yeah.
played because he knows how great he is.
Yeah.
To take a short little Jewish dude, say, man, I got your back.
Yeah.
You need to get rid of that dude. I'm gonna put Field here. Like it's just crazy, man. It's crazy.
And they never will. And I think what I attribute to it was The Last Dance, honestly, because it was points where you just forgot about it, but then now it was rehashed, and now you think about it back, and it was a perfect time because 2020, nothing really was going on. We all were sitting in the house, so of course you were able to analyze that with a fine tooth comb. You didn't have nothing else going on, so like you said, and we all know when it comes to Jordan fans, it's like he can walk on water and don't get his feet wet. You know. But but like you said, regardless of you'll still have rational people that really sit down and think, yes, Jerry Krause, what he did, yes, him maybe ending this run prematurely, that's give or take. But you still got to realize what transpired in those 8 years of, really he built this team almost 15 plus years, before the championships and all that. So you look at it where, I mean, hey, but like you said, when it comes to Jordan fans and the narrative that was spewed, there's no escaping that.
It's weird because I know they had, what is it called, off the court or in court. What was the show that's on NBA TV?
It's an NBA
all the
TV.
players, all the players get to like Reggie Miller, Charles Barkley.
Oh yeah, I forgot the name, but yeah, they sit, they like do like a roundtable discussion. Yeah,
I would love to hear general managers because I would love to hear Jerry West have a conversation because just like him, I felt like the Lakers dogged him. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I did all this work, and then he goes to the Warriors and do the same thing. Like,
yep, and convince Kevin Durant to come to Golden State.
And you see what I'm saying? And like, you wondering why? And y'all got, at least y'all got championships then, and then you got one in the ladder. But at the same time, you got to sit back and think like, man, y'all got to start respecting some of these GMs, like, man, and just somewhat try to trust them because some of them is really trying to give you the best that they can with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But wow. But yeah, man. I said today though, I said I gotta because a person I was talking to, he said, they shouldn't boo, but he was like, man, but I'm gonna be honest with you, they got a good reason to boo. But I was like, no, they don't.
No, they don't. Like, not that he's dead. Now I can understand if he was alive.
Yeah, right.
He can take it. He can take that while he's alive. But that man is dead. He's not here to defend that or to have a thought on why people did that. Like, you throwing dirt at a dead man, and then his wife adding to her grief. Right. So she probably would never ever. Her thought of the Chicago Bulls is gonna be so tainted. She's never coming to the United States ever again.
Right. And I'm sitting here like, I'm starting to smell conspiracy once I seen he was a part-time scout for the Lakers. I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. You know what I mean?
But yeah, man. Delma needs some love, man. They shouldn't have did it to her.
Nope.
It made me mad though. And it's so crazy because I was gonna do a TikTok, but I don't know if for some reason when I did it, it came out black. It came out dark. Like, it didn't show my face. I don't know why. I don't know what happened Friday night because I was gonna post something, but then I did it like twice, 2 or 3 times with my phone for some odd reason. It like when we do the playback, it was black. So it's like, I don't know what the hell happened, but yeah, man, I was mad about that. I ain't gonna lie. That kind of pissed me off. She didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we got a big divisional playoffs this weekend, man. We got some good slate of games this week. So we get into it this weekend. So we got, first off, on Saturday, we got the Houston Texans coming to the Avenue versus the Baltimore Ravens. Who you got in this matchup?
The team from the Avenue.
Got the Ravens. All right. Yeah, I got the Ravens, even though I know they coming off some rust. I know a lot of people, you look at, a scenario where teams are coming off of a bad week, the rust and what have you. But I think this Baltimore Ravens team, I think they're locked and loaded. They're focused. I think the run for CJ Stroud is going to be over. I think he's going to have a great game. But I think, they are going to a more affordable team. They're not going to have the luxury of Lamar Jackson throwing pick sixes in like 7 seconds, two pick sixes in 7 seconds. I don't think that's going to happen in this game. So give me the Ravens as well. In the nightcap on Saturday, we got the Green Bay Packers versus the San Francisco 49ers. Who you got?
I'm going with the Packers. Now, I don't want Cleveland's mother getting upset with me, but I'm thinking about how this weekend went, and then I'm thinking about a lot of teams I felt like had a lot of issues, during this season where everybody was like, oh, they're going to be the team to beat. They're going to be the team to beat. And then when you saw them lose, he was like, what, how they lose? And I feel like, I think the Ravens game, if you can contain Debo, I think they can lose. I think you can beat the 49ers. I really do.
Yeah. I think the 49ers going to win this game. I definitely think they'll this team is definitely different than the Cowboys by a mile. So I definitely think they'll be able to kind of neutralize the Packers' attack. And like it's one of the things where it's usually San Francisco is usually Aaron Rodgers' kryptonite. Will it be Jordan Love's kryptonite as well? I think so. So I definitely think the 49ers will win this game. We got a Sunday afternoon game in Detroit. We got Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to Detroit, where Detroit is one win away from history. What you got? Who you got in this matchup?
I believe in Bake.
Oh, the Bucs. Okay. All right. So Detroit, get ready for the first time since 1991. You're headed to the NFC Championship, but this time you won't be playing the Washington Redskins. You're probably playing the San Francisco 49ers. Detroit, get ready. Get ready to go to Santa Clara next Sunday. Detroit. It's going to happen. You're going to break the streak.
You're going to have Eminem coming out of the tunnel doing Lose Yourself.
Yeah, man. Week on mom spaghetti. Yeah, and that would be kind of, that would be their intro. That got to be their intro, especially if they go a little bit further. Like, especially if they go like to the Super Bowl or whatever. Them coming out the bus. Somebody need to do like an edit of that. Like them coming out the bus Santa Clara. If they pull up their upset and then play Lose Yourself, man, that'll go so hard. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. That's how I feel. Maybe I had time next weekend. So the finale of divisional weekend. We got unfamiliar territory. We got Patrick Mahomes on the road. Girls gone wild. We got Patrick Mahomes on the road. He coming to Orchard Park, and he going against his one of his arch nemesis, Josh Allen, and the Buffalo Bills. Who you got?
I got the Chiefs.
Okay.
I think the Bills gonna beat themselves.
Man, this is gonna be a sweep. I think all the home teams gonna take care of business. Give me the Buffalo Bills. They are going back to the AFC Championship game. I think this gonna be the week. I mean, Patrick Mahomes on the road. It's gonna be really odd to see Patrick Mahomes on the road. Man, this is gonna be a really interesting game. Amen. But I definitely think, and obviously it's gonna be definitely different because normally, we see the Bills dominate them in the regular season, but then when they go to Kansas City, they always lose in the postseason. Now, Mahomes comes to Western New York. I mean, I don't know how the weather gonna be. I'm not, I didn't do my Jim Cantor research as far as the weather for the game on Sunday. But man, oh man, I definitely think that the Bills are gonna win. And they're gonna punch their ticket to the AFC Championship game, and yeah, I think the Bills got it this year. Because there's something about this Kansas City team. I think last week they kind of skated on back. I mean, no pun intended, because obviously with the weather. But I definitely think that the Bills, I think they finally kind of getting themselves together. I know they let kind of Pittsburgh in that game. I know a lot of people say, well, they're not gonna score 30 plus on the Chiefs defense. I don't know. We'll find out, but I don't necessarily think they gotta score 30 plus points on the Kansas City defense to win this football game.
I just look at Kansas City kind of like how the Patriots used to be. Like, there's times where they wasn't as good as they were. Like, I think even last year we was looking at them like, I don't know, they not as good as and more dominant as they used to be. So I just think that the Bills it's gonna beat themselves. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Josh Allen.
Yeah, this is gonna be the year. I think this could be the year for the Bills, because they for some odd reason, especially after the 6-6, I don't think they've only lost like one game since like November. So I think they're like, we talked about hot teams in the NFC, but I think by far this is like one of the hottest teams besides the Ravens. As one of the hot teams in the in the AFC. They were another team where at 6-6, everybody wanted to fire my boy Sean McDermott from William and Mary. They want to get rid of my boy from William and Murray, and then so they wanted to get rid of him. Everybody was as far as Stephon Diggs, he's ready to leave. He gonna leave. Your boy Trey say he need to get out there, and I'm like, man, the Cowboys should be deducted a first round pick. That sounds like tampering. You ask me. That's some first class tampering. You can't be talking about another man's situation while you're under contract. So I think the Cowboys should be docked 2 first round picks in 2024 and 2025. So, but I definitely think that that the Bills will do this, and no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, and maybe they'll punch their ticket to the Avenue.
Oh man, anybody thinking about them damn Bills?
Hey man, and Bills for real,
Is your pick still in it to win the Super Bowl?
No, who won the Super Bowl? No, because they had the Bengals winning. They had the Bengals winning over San Francisco. San Francisco's in,
right?
But my Super Bowl champion's died.
So what's crazy? My last year's Super Bowl is still in. So it was the 49ers versus the Ravens.
Yeah. And I think in the 2022, I had the Bills and the 49ers. And I thought the Bills were going to win the Super Bowl, which this would be the year, because it's weird because no one's really they're really hopping in the playoffs, because think about it. If we'll talk about the Peacock exclusive game, that was the game when they played the Chargers and the Saturday before Christmas. Before that game, they were 11th in the playoff picture, and then they rose up to 6th, which is bizarre. Like they moved up 5 spots by one game. Right. So that showed me wow. And then they end up winning the AFC East. Right. Crazy circumstance that we living out here in the NFL streets. So yeah, no, I'm about halfway. I still got San Francisco. I had Cincinnati, but obviously with Macaulay Culkin getting hurt and Jake Browning, so right. I knew when that happened. He had the injury. And matter of fact, it happened in the Avenue, right? When Carmelo was there.
The weird thing about him is, I don't know when the last time when Lamar is healthy and he's healthy. Lamar's usually hurt, and then the Bengals do well with him, and then he gets hurt. Lamar, it's the weirdest thing. That's why I was telling somebody. I said, if they're healthy, Lamar is the king of the division. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Whoever healthy at the end.
Right. As soon as he got hurt, I was like, bet the Ravens got this joke. And Lamar actually been doing well, man. He really, been healthy all season. Him and Tua.
Yeah, I know. And that's especially, you had Deshaun Watson going down. Joe Burrow, aka Macaulay Culkin, go down,
Mm-hmm.
and then Kenny Pickett going down too. So it's
Right.
like this is the division for the Ravens to win. So
Right. One more thing. I didn't say something about the Dolphins. I feel like the Dolphins, even though they had injuries, it seemed like, man, and I want your take on this before we move on. It seems
mhm.
like they just need one more thing. I know they're fast, right? All around they're fast, but don't you think they need some muscle, some mud muscle to carry and be
Yeah.
physical? So what do you think if they got like a Derrick Henry?
I mean, that would help. I mean, especially with their if they go to a running game, I think, and that's gonna be another one. I think once free agency pop up,
Mm-hmm.
I think we can maybe potentially tell who could potentially will be a Super Bowl contender coming into 2024. Because I think if you like, he would be good for them where you already have that running game,
Mm-hmm.
with what they got, and then have him as like to me, he would be like your pinch hitter. He'd be maybe your third down back or some guy that you have in the third, then the fourth quarter to
Mm-hmm.
kind of move
Right.
the chains. So I think whoever gets him, I think could be like a early on favorite to get him. But I think honestly, Tua got to play better. I think you got to see him play it better because I don't know what the hell he was doing Saturday. I know I want to give him an excuse it was cold, but I mean he was throwing like to Tariq like in the middle of the field. I'm like, and throwing in coverages. It's just like, dude, it's not conducive for you to be throwing in
Right.
double and triple coverage and you throwing him over the middle. Like you gotta hit Tyreek on the outside. You gotta hit him on. Now I understand, yeah, he can give you that type of stuff, but if it ain't there, it ain't there. He was forced a lot in that game, and I
Yeah.
understand because they
Right.
were down in that game. So, with him having, pretty much this year, this year is gonna be like his last year on that deal, as far as what they're gonna do for him. So I think you're gonna see the best out of Tua Tagovailoa next year. Especially since the fact he's due for a bigger contract.
Right. And I believe that's why I said I know he wasn't doing well, but it seemed like I believe it can't be like Tyreek can be a number one, but let's be real.
Yeah,
Like he had Kelsey, he had Patrick Mahomes that's moving around doing
yeah,
crazy things, and it never was like a lot of pressure on Tyreek. It seemed like he was just a weapon that boom he could just do extra stuff. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And I just
yeah.
felt like if you get a Derrick Henry, somebody that's a veteran, you're not gonna use him much, but he's still important because he's gonna beat up the defense some. And I think they need something like that. I think they just you
Yeah.
can't just be fast all the time. You gotta have some power, man.
Yeah, and I think especially and they got a good running game. That's another thing too with it. And like you said, Tyreek is bona fide. I mean, he's another guy.
Right,
I think he would have been. He was on pace to getting 2,000 yards this year.
right.
I mean, I know he had missed a few games, but and he's continuing to improve. I think his first year he had like 17. He had like 17.99 this year. So it's like he's he's there. Like he's gonna potentially be a 2,000 yard receiver next year. And like you said, if they can get like a Derrick Henry, I think because you'll use him regardless of wherever he goes to kind of help in that fourth quarter or help you on third down and kind of move the chains and kind of get the defense going. Because I know whoever get them against Dallas, now let me stop. Let me not pick on Dallas, but just in general, where I think they can wear down a defense. And like I said, that's going to really be one of the biggest storylines going into free agency. Like as far as who will get him, and because you think about it, if you're a team that you think to yourself, I'm a contended team. I want to be a downhill kind of, I want not downhill, but I want to, have a running game where I can have a guy like him who can kind of wear down the opposing defense and win football games because he would definitely be conducive, especially in the playoffs. I think having him, there like, and wouldn't be surprised if he goes somewhere like Baltimore, especially with that run game. I think that's the perfect fit for them, and I think that's where I can see them making the move, even if they win or lose the Super Bowl. But I definitely think if they don't make it to the Super Bowl or they lose the Super Bowl, I think Derrick Henry, that's where he can go, and I think that's where you'll look at Baltimore as the early on favorites going into next year. I think that's the best fit for him. But I mean, it's too, we still got 2 months before free agency, so a lot can happen in 2 months from now. But
yeah, but Chris, we were talking about the Dolphins, man. Don't be putting that
I
stuff
know.
in the universe.
But I mean, I'm saying like that.
Word.
Like as far as like you said, because whoever gets him, that we look at as contenders now, I think he puts them over the top. I think he puts them front and center. And I mean, as far as if even before we do a preview, you'll think, they could potentially win a Super Bowl without kind of surveying the whole landscape of the NFL. This probably even I think if you look at pre-draft. You probably think, oh man, here he goes. They could be a contender or a Super Bowl contending team.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll do our game ball and final thoughts. We'll go with our game ball. So who gets this game ball for you this week?
Man, I didn't really pick one, but I'm gonna give it to Baker Mayfield. First year with the Bucks. Last year was Tom Brady. First year with the Bucks, won the division. Dominated against a team that was in the Super Bowl last year. And, kudos to him, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kudos to him, man. I mean, no offense to who did he play with last year before he went to the Bucks?
He played for the Panthers and the Rams.
The Panthers?
And
the Rams. Yeah,
Yeah.
and to get fought for the starting job and went out there and did his thing, man. Congratulations.
Yes, indeed. Yep, he did his thing on that Thursday night game with the Rams. I think he just got there like a few days prior to it and won a game for the Rams.
Right.
And they were terrible last year, and he was able to inject some hope for them last year. My game ball's got to go to the new head coach of the New England Patriots, Gerard Mayo. 757 brethren. Now is the youngest head coach in the NFL. He, obviously Sean McVay had that dubious title. I think Sean McVay's birthday is next week, so he'll be 38 next week. And now you got Gerard Mayo. I think he was born February 23rd of 1986.
Wow. So
he'll be 30. So he'll be 38 come February. So he is now the youngest coach in the NFL at this point. And also like talking about 757, the product of Kickertan High School up in Hampton. So, and this is the first time we've had a coaching change in 24 years for the first time since the beginning of the century. So, it's amazing to think. Wow, just imagine a franchise that only has had 2 head coaches in this century. It must be nice, right? It must be nice to have a coach for 20 plus years.
Man, they hired him fast too. I thought they was gonna wait a little bit.
Yeah, so I didn't know that they had a clause in his contract that he was going to be the heir apparent. Because I know a few years back, I know he had a interview. Matter of fact, I don't think it was last year, but I know he was about to get that job in Denver. I think this is when they hired Hackett. 2 years ago, Troy Mayo name was coming up in a lot of interviews. I think he had a good interview with the Patriots. And I don't know when they actually signed. The Patriots with the Broncos, but they did sign something. They had put something in his contract that he was going to be the heir apparent. So I didn't know that until, like I said, because they fired. Well, the press conference was Thursday. Wednesday? No, because we did the show Thursday. So it was Thursday. And then Gerard Mayo got hired, the very next day, I think Friday. So we got off air on Thursday night. We did a special show on Thursday night last week. So, it's definitely a huge shout out to Gerard Mayo, man. It's a new day in New England, man. I'm definitely curious how that's all going to play out, especially I know a lot of people, in NFL circles, he's, a young, bright man. So I definitely think, that's something that this Patriots team need. And I think, I think he will get the time to kind of build the team, to his specifications to how he wants it. So, I don't know if he's going to be a little Bill like we look at, like the Matt Patricia of the world, Josh McDaniels, but hopefully he's not a little Bill. We want this guy to be successful. So,
yeah, like it's just interesting though. That's what's up though. I was shocked.
Man. Yeah, man. Shout out to Gerard Mayo. You know, 37. He's about to be the head coach in New England. So, all right. So, final thoughts of social media. What you got going?
Oh man, Deshaun Morgan, Facebook DT Morgan 78, DT Morgan 78 Instagram. Great show. Get ready for these games this weekend and back here next week.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Once again, another great show. Pretty much social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Couch Coach Live. Yeah, pretty much the website couchcoachlive.com. Check out the podcast anywhere you get your podcast: Apple, Spotify, iHeart. We're there. YouTube, Couch Coach Live, and like you said, we got some great weekend games. We got 8 left to go in the NFL playoffs, and it'll be down to 4. So this time next week, we'll be talking about conference championship weekend, and it depends on how everything goes this weekend. We might have some coaching hires to talk about next week and what have you. So we got a few things going on, and we'll definitely be back at it again next weekend, and next week, not weekend, but next week, to talk about everything that happened this weekend and beyond, and what's going on. So this has been this week's Couch Coach Live, man. We'll catch you guys next week, and we're out.
You're welcome.